think that's the Friends intro, isn't it, Steve? It's not? I don't even know, man. That's how out of touch I am. That show was like 50, 100 years ago. Anyway, gang, welcome back, Steve, Stash Nation. Steve, I appreciate you, brother, and I appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. In the studio today, we got Jim Scott. Jim is a certified family law specialist, attorney at law at scottfamilylaw.net. And, man, Jim has been laying it down right now. Jim, I don't even know. We've covered so much ground. But there's a couple more that I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to get to. These are sort of critical, as you said earlier, foundational elements of who you are and what you do. And you can tell that story through a couple of cases, can you not? Wasn't DeGuine one of them? Yeah, DeGuine is one of the fun cases. It's hey, we like fun cases around here for a change, right?
We do, and it's the opposite of Stewart versus Gomez. Okay. Stewart versus Gomez is where this guy had an income of $290 a month,
right?
And he is ordered to pay $190 in child support.
That was depressing.
Well, DeGuine was an extremely wealthy man. And he had inherited this estate in, I think, Hillsborough above San Francisco.
Okay.
It had some 50 acres and this huge mansion. So anyhow, I'm going to read a quote from the DeGuine case, and this is the appellate court speaking. The family maintained an opulent lifestyle. The house was staffed by 2 housekeepers, 3 gardeners, a laundress, chef, child care provider, and part-time chauffeur. The family frequently took costly vacations, maintained multiple club memberships. The children attended private school and engaged in activities including horseback riding, tennis, piano lessons, various sporting activities, and overnight camps. Mrs. DeGuine purchased expensive clothing for herself and the girls, and she incurred significant monthly expenses for personal services such as hair care, makeup, and massage.
You know, Jim, like your and I's lifestyle, right?
Yeah, not quite mine.
Yeah.
I'm more the lifestyle of lovely Murphy Canyon and Tierrasana.
Hey, and that's not a bad one, Jimbo. I'm actually partial to that area.
Well, the DeGuine lifestyle cost this family $50,000. Excuse me, $450,000 a year.
Yeah.
But their total income was only $240,000 from some securities. And what had happened was Mr. DeGuine really had never worked a day in his life, according to this opinion. And he kept selling off assets to support the family with this opulent lifestyle. According to the report, he drew down $4 million from his stock account. He sold an antique knife collection worth $425,000. And he sold a second house for $725,000. And he blew all the money. Now, get this lifestyle. This was a 16,000 square foot mansion that was built in 1918 by his grandfather. It was surrounded by 47.5 acres that included hiking trails, streams, and wildlife gardens. But of course, in the divorce, Mr. DeGuine cried, "Poor boy," and he didn't have the money. It was like the line from that song by the Beatles, "All the money's gone, nowhere to go."
Yeah, or maybe something like this.
Check, please.
The court said they had that magic feeling.
Yeah.
Mrs. DeGuine brought in experts, and her experts said that this guy could sell some of the land around the mansion, and he could easily raise $25 to $30 million.
Good. So they interceded. They shoved them around a little bit.
The court agreed with Mrs. DeGuine and ordered this guy to pay $27,500 a month in support, including $15,000 a month in child support, $12,500 in alimony.
Yeah, that's more like it, right?
Well, it kind of goes back to both the code sections we talked about earlier, where a child is entitled to share in the parent's lifestyle, and a spouse is entitled to be supported to the ability to maintain the lifestyle that they had during the marriage.
Right.
And the court could not justify that Mr. DeGuine would have this mansion to live in, and the kids and ex-wife basically nothing.
That actually makes me feel a little bit better about the world, especially considering after that first one that you shared about the poor guy having to kick in 75% of his income. Is there any more stories you want to leave us with?
Well, there are. I mean, the fun thing about the law is that there's one short story after another here. The Hinman 2 is an interesting case. That's Hinman Roman numeral 2 because Mr. and Mrs. Hinman kept going up on appeal. I don't know how many Hinman appellate cases there are. But what happened in that case is that Mrs. Hinman said, well, I'm remarried. I don't have to work. My job is having babies, and I've had more babies with my new family.
Right.
And the court said, no, you have a responsibility to all of your children to support them, including those that you have with Mr. Hinman.
Yeah.
So the other thing that was neat about the Hinman case is that Mr. Hinman brought in a staffing professional. And he said the staffing professional testified why we can put her to work here, here, and here right now. And that's how they proved an opportunity.
Yay! Where's my there we go. Where's my applause right there? Yeah, I love that. You know, and what's coming up for me, Jim, and probably most folks that are catching it right now for the first time, is that there's a lot, of course, that goes into this, but that's exactly why you need somebody who not only knows how to navigate through this stuff, like as you said, in the first 10-minute phone call, you can probably know whether or not this is something that you even want to go forward with or not, and that call is free. But also, once there is actually traction or fodder for you guys to get together, you've got the ability to pull through all of this intellectual capital that you've drawn from your own experience, and then also the experience of all the mentors that you had before you, to make sure that you can basically call it out, right? You, like you said earlier, like you got your little crystal ball proverbially and be like, hey, man, I can probably call this shot and let you know how it's going to go with that first meeting. True?
We do. We
Yeah.
try to set goals at the first meeting. I ask the people I'm meeting with to give me 3 goals, and we address those goals.
Yeah, I love that thought. And to get your goals, you might say, Jim, you want to go check out Jim at scottfamilylaw.net. That's Scott with 2 T's, familylaw.net, or you can call him at his office at 858-794-4900. To give that number one more time, Jim, it's 858-794-4900. Thank you so much for coming in to Secret Stash Nation, Real Talk Radio San Diego. Jim, we got to get you back on the show. And Stash Nation for you, we'll be right back after the top of this hour with some more Real Talk Radio for you coming up.